Hi everyone, my name is Anne and welcome back to my art channel. So for this video, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do a new series that I've been thinking about trying out. And it's going to be a series where I just sketch or draw something and I don't really talk about it. And instead, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about myself, which sounds kind of conceited. But I kind of feel like the about the artist tag thing that I had done before, or meet the artist, that was it. I feel like I didn't do the best job at that one. Like after I saw a bunch of other people's videos, I was like, oh, I was supposed to talk about myself more than the picture I drew. So yeah, I thought that this might be a kind of break the ice kind of series that we can get to know each other a bit more. You guys can hear my story a bit more. I kind of forget that maybe people haven't seen me online for the last forever, so they might not know my story. So yeah. So for this first episode, I'm going to be talking about my art journey from the beginning. So you guys kind of get to know how long I've been doing art and that kind of thing. And I have a lot of other topics in mind for future videos. I won't do these super often, but I'll try to do them at least once a month. So if there's any topic you guys want to know more about, then definitely let me know. But for this topic, I'm going to be doing how I got into my art journey. And while I do that, I'm going to be drawing this old drawing that I actually drew in 1999. And that was 18 years ago. Wow. I feel old. So yeah, 18 years ago, I drew this little sketch, and this actually isn't my best work. I actually kind of felt depressed when I did the math, and I was like, oh, so I was probably like 16, 17 when I did this drawing. And I'm like, wow, like I wish I was a little bit better at that age. But actually, this one I had forgotten. It's a really small little sketchbook that I used to put in my pocket, and I would like draw in pen when I was like in the car or something for a long period of time. So these were just really quick sketches, and I really like the shape of the body for this one, even though the body shape that I draw is so different now. But I thought I'd just give it a try and see what comes out of it 18 years later. So about my art journey, this is something I wanted to talk about first because when I started my YouTube channel, I wanted to kind of document my art journey, and now I'm starting to realize I've never really told you guys about my art journey so far. So my art journey has been a bit rocky. I have been posting online since I looked it up. I think it was December 2001 or 2002. And it's just the reason I haven't really gone far with posting online is because I've been doing a lot of stopping and starting when it comes to art. I think a lot of people who are adults kind of can understand this. It's just like life gets in the way and you end up not drawing for a year or 2 or 3, or at least not posting it. I would occasionally draw throughout those times, but I just didn't post it. But we'll go back even further, and I'll just say that when it comes to art, the way I started art was kind of like when I was born, I guess. I mean, like, I can't remember not really drawing, but I didn't get serious about drawing until much later. But I think it kind of helped that my family in general, I think, is kind of creative. I have a very large family. I'm actually the 8th child in my family, and I'm the youngest. And there are quite a few members of my family who aren't artistic, but there's also a few who are, and I hung out a lot with the people who are artistic. And it also helps that I think in general my immediate family was very like creative in general. Like, I mean, my mom watched Doctor Who, so we grew up watching Doctor Who, and my older sibling, my older sister was big in sci-fi. Another sister of mine was big into fantasy. She really liked David Bowie and Labyrinth a lot, and she had these posters of unicorns on her wall, which I absolutely adored. And we all liked to sing. We were always singing and watching movies and TV shows together. A lot of fantasy TV shows, a lot of sci-fi TV shows. I personally don't really like sci-fi, but I was exposed to a lot of it growing up. And my oldest sister actually, like, she sewed and she did art, and yeah, so I feel like I was around a lot of creative people when I was younger, and nobody really tried to tell me that art was bad. And I feel like a lot of people encouraged me when I was younger, which I think is really helpful. Like, I was always told that I should do something with this, which was nice. I think that's good to tell young people to, keep going. So I didn't get serious into art until I watched Sailor Moon for the first time, and that was 1995. I remember seeing like a little thing on TV, TV Guide. Does anybody remember TV Guide? Probably not. TV Guide had this little ad coming out that Sailor Moon was coming out soon, and I was like, oh my god, I have to watch that. And it was kind of embarrassing because I was in middle school, and like I remember actually seeing some of my quote-unquote friends, people I hung out with, they had actually made fun of Sailor Moon a little bit, and I was like, I'm gonna keep quiet because I actually love that. And then after watching Sailor Moon, I started to draw more anime. Before that, I would draw like fantasy and unicorns and, you know, random stuff. Like, I wasn't super into it. But after Sailor Moon, I wanted to draw Sailor Moon. And after I saw the Sailor Moon manga for the first time in the Smile magazine, I read that and reread that, and I drew and I drew and I drew. And from then, I decided I wanted to be a mangaka because I didn't know there were other creative fields that you could go into. I thought it was just you draw comics and that's it. But I kind of wish I did. I wish I could go back in time and know that there's a lot of other creative fields you could get into that I know about now, because I think I could have gone further faster if I knew that that was a possibility. But I had no idea. I didn't know how to draw comics. This was back in the late 90s. There was no internet, and if there was, you had to be rich to have it. Let's be honest. I did not get a computer until the year 2002. That's why I started posting online then. But I was seriously drawing my own stories and trying my best. Offline, I had no outside influence. I just was influenced by like the animes that I liked, because I explored a lot of animes at that time, and the TV shows that I liked, and the fantasy and sci-fi that I was exposed to as well. So yeah, I think it was kind of amazing to be have a start without the internet's influence. I'm not saying that to insult anyone. I'm just saying it because I really appreciate that when I look back. And I feel that because I developed my style offline, inspired by anime and J-rock and just general life, that I was easier, like it's much easier for me to develop an original style and have an original voice and not be like, I didn't have the peer pressure that you have when you post stuff online and you see other people's work online. But that's kind of a topic for another day. The problem was, shortly after I got on the internet, I also started working for the first time at a 40-hour job. 48 felt like 48, I'm sure. 40-hour jobs got in the way, and I met my husband, and my husband was a long distance thing, and we used to talk during the times when I used to draw. So I started to move more and more away from drawing and creating, and that was the first time I kind of stopped. And it took a few years to try to get back into it. A couple years later, I had discovered artist alleys. You could go and sell your artwork at Artist Alley, and I tried to kind of force myself back into art by doing the Artist Alley thing, like full truth. And I wasn't super happy with the results, and I burnt myself out pretty badly, but it did help me get into art a little bit, but not the way I was before. And then I moved to Singapore. That was like a 10-year gap between when I kind of stopped and then I moved to Singapore. And I thought things would be better once I got to Singapore because I had more time to myself. I wasn't going to be going to a job. I wasn't able to at first, but instead we were renting rooms outside, and it was not a happy time. It was kind of awful, and it made me feel depressed, and I didn't draw much. Like, I did draw, but I didn't post it, and I doodled sometimes, but it wasn't like the serious art. I only got back into the serious art that I want for myself, drawing every day, doing good work, improving on my artwork. Once I had moved into my own flat, we have our own apartment, and we are, it's mortgaged. It's not like we're renting, and it's settled. We're settled now. We have we adopted a cat, and we have our own apartment, and we're staying here for probably ever unless we can afford to upgrade. But we're settled, and because of that, I was able to start to pull out my art supplies and create a desk to work at, and I actually sat down and drew, and I forced myself to keep going, and I started on Instagram, and then I found out about YouTube, and I was like, wow, this YouTube thing's pretty cool. And I started to watch other artists drawing, and it started to remind me of things that I used to do, the ways I used to do them, like being more careful with my lines, and the different materials that exist, which I didn't know about as much when I was younger. I just used what I had. I didn't really know about the other mediums out there. So I started to explore new mediums, and it was so exciting. And then I shared it on YouTube, and I want to share my journey of getting back into art and improving and getting back to my dream, and hoping that maybe I could go somewhere with it this time. So yeah, that's my journey so far. And I'm really kind of happy that I've been able to share with you guys. I really wasn't sure at first that I could do this thing, doing this YouTube thing and sharing myself and editing videos. That was the worst part, like, gosh. But it's been a kind of amazing journey so far, and I'm really so happy. My soul is so happy to be back at this. So yeah, I hope you guys have been enjoying my journey so far, and I hope you will continue to follow me on my journey and maybe tell me a little bit about yours too. So yeah, leave me a comment in the comment section below. Tell me your journey and how far have you gotten, and how far do you hope to get, and never give up on it, because even if there's times when it doesn't work for a while, you can get back there. Art is not something that you age out of, so you don't have to be too worried about it. But yeah, so yeah, I think I'll just end it there and say thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.